walk into the old galleries of Jaipur House at the National Gallery of Modern Art, and the glances of the sad-eyed men and women will haunt you. The mysterious smile lurking on the lips of a beautiful woman will beckon you. You will be amused by the puckish smirk on a goblin face. These and many other faces, landscapes, fantastic forms will hold you in their thrall at the exhibition The Master Strokes, Art of Rabindranath Tagore, mounted by the NGMA to celebrate the cultural icon's 150th birth anniversary. Towards the end of his life, Tagore said, "I think only painting has a timeless quality." How right he was. But it is not only his painting that has not staled over the years. His writing, his ideas, his music still have contemporary relevance. Indeed, Rabindranath has left behind a dynamic cultural legacy. Artist, writer, aesthetician Professor K.G. Subramanian once wrote, "If Gandhi is the embodiment of the country's national resurgence, Tagore, poet, playwright, novelist, songwriter, musician, theorist, educationist, and finally, painter, personified its cultural ethos with roots in an age-old heritage but reaching forward to a limitless future." The comparison was well chosen. While there were many ups and downs in Gandhi and Rabindranath's relationship, the two men shared a close friendship and respect for each other. It was Rabindranath who addressed Gandhi as Mahatma, and Gandhi called him Gurudev. In 1932, Gandhi broke his fast unto death at Yerwada jail in Rabindranath's presence. Rabindranath's song, Akla Cholo Re, became a favorite song for the Mahatma. Rabindranath Tagore, the multifaceted genius, was born in 1861 into an elite family in Kolkata. The youngest son of Maharishi Rabindranath Tagore, a leading light of the reformist Brahmo Samaj, Rabindranath was raised in a fertile cultural milieu that was a part of his family tradition. Although averse to formal education, he grew up learning music, painting, participating in creative and intellectual discussions, writing for family-edited magazines, performing in family cultural events. He began writing poetry while still in his teens. Rabindranath's famous collection of poems, Gitanjali, was published in 1910 and was soon translated into English. Among others, it contained the inspiring poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear, which became a mantra for generations of Indians. Gitanjali won Rabindranath the Nobel Prize for Literature. He was the first Asian to win this prize. Although Rabindranath began travelling abroad while he was a very young man, it was between 1912 and 1930 that he began travelling extensively all over the world. During these travels, he made many friends and established close acquaintanceships with leading intellectuals of the world such as Romain Rolland, Bertrand Russell, Albert Einstein, W.B. Yeats, and many others with whom he exchanged ideas on civilizational developments. As a novelist, Rabindranath explored the complexities of the human character, but he also probed larger social and political issues. Consider Chokher Bali, written in 1902, in which he wrote about forbidden passions and the breaking of taboos, but also focused on the hotly debated issue of widow remarriage. By 1910, when he wrote Gora, he was examining issues of national and religious identity.
गोरा गोरा तुमने सुना नहीं?
His disapproval of constricting and divisive forces of narrow nationalism as opposed to a broad humanism was becoming manifest in his novels. His condemnation of the militant revolutionary movement that had emerged in Bengal found echoes in his writing when he penned Ghore Baire in 1916. Nevertheless, his protest against the brutal British shooting of innocent citizens at Jallianwala Bagh in 1919 prompted him to renounce the knighthood awarded to him by the British. While Rabindranath has been criticized for his wordy, slow-moving novels, great film directors turned to his works for their film scripts. Satyajit Ray made a film from Ghore Baire and adapted the short story Noshto Nir into Charulata. Tapan Sinha made Kabuliwala, Shudit Pashan and Atithi from Rabindranath's eponymous short stories.
ইচ্ছে করে ছেলেটিকে একটু যত্ন করি, ভালো করে একটু খাওয়াই, তাও সেদিকে খেয়ালই নেই।
চারুর সামনে ওকে বেশি যত্ন করতে যেও না, অনর্থ বাঁধবে।
হ্যাঁ, চারুটাও যেন দিন দিন কিরকম হচ্ছে।
Rituparno Ghosh made Chokher Bali into a film. There are many such instances.
লেখাপড়া জানিস? তো কাপড়ে তো ময়লা কেন? মা কেচে দেয় না? নেই।
His plays remain popular stage productions, especially thanks to the late thespian Shambhu Mitra.
যেন ফকির আজ সকালবেলা থেকে আমার চোখের উপর থেকে থেকে অন্ধকার হয়ে যাচ্ছে, মনে হচ্ছে সব যেন স্বপ্ন।
His music was also widely used in films. One of the first instances was by Pankaj Malik in the film Mukti. Rabindranath established a genre of music known as Rabindra Sangeet. He wrote the lyrics and also composed the music for thousands of songs. In music, he wanted the lyrics to get as much importance as the tunes, and so he skillfully married melodies and words to offer an enriching emotional experience. In composing music, he drew inspiration from diverse sources: Hindustani and South Indian classical music, Baul songs, kirtans, European music, and so on. In songs such as Purano Shei Diner Kotha, said to be based on Auld Lang Syne, and Phule Phule, used in the film Charulata, the lilt of Scottish songs can be clearly detected. These songs have captured the imagination of the masses.
দিনের কথা ভুলবি কি রে, হায় ও সেই চোখের দেখা, প্রাণের কথা সে কি ভোলা যায়।
His profound thinking touched all aspects of cultural and social life. When he was a little over 40, he established a school at Shantiniketan. Here again, he blended the Upanishadic concepts of education with universal humanism. In 16 years' time, he transformed the initial modest nucleus into a university, Vishwa Bharati. Having bitter memories of formal education, he planned a non-formal style of teaching and classes. Vishwa Bharati produced illustrious alumni, among whom one can name former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, internationally renowned filmmaker Satyajit Ray, Nobel laureate Amartya Sen, writer, activist, Magsaysay Award winner Mahashweta Devi, and the glamorous Maharani Gayatri Devi of Jaipur, although she was a student for only a short while. Rabindranath's concepts of art education, embodied at Kala Bhavan in Shantiniketan by the painter Nandalal Bose, became a model for the pedagogy of art. The school attracted outstanding talents such as Ramkinkar Baij and Binod Bihari Mukherjee. Together, the trio set new benchmarks by revitalizing the mural tradition. Consider Mukherjee's mural at Hindi Bhavan, Shantiniketan. By creating public and environmental art such as Ramkinkar's sculptures, Santhal family and Milk Hall. Even Mahatma Gandhi made use of the abundant storehouse of talent by asking Nandalal Bose to decorate the venue of the Congress session at Haripura. The Haripura posters by Bose remain a landmark in modern Indian art. The Kala Bhavan also had towering alumni who left their mark on modern Indian art. The names of eminent artists come readily to mind, such as Professor K.G. Subramanian and A. Ramachandran. Tempera painter Dharmanarayan Das Gupta, New York-based graphic language began fairly late. And hostess, the Argentinian Victoria Ocampo, urged him to paint and hold an exhibition. By the late 20s, he began to paint images like a driven man. Not trained as a professional artist, he used unconventional materials. He painted with pastels and colored ink on paper, using brushes, rags, cotton wool, and even his fingers to apply the paint. The brushwork showed immense energy. Daubs, stipples, smears, frenzied lines. Childhood memories and the subconscious played a role in his figuration. Sometimes the creative urgency made him go beyond the representational into the realm of the abstract. While the subconscious impulse is well recognized in his art, it is also true that Rabindranath had a good exposure to the visual language of other cultures. He was familiar with European expressionism, just as he understood the raw vitality of primitive art.
Tagore never desired or wanted to be a painter. All the works, the visual works, the works of art that he created are almost an extension of his persona. Extension of the variety of languages that that man used to create and express. And he realized that, and he has said that openly, acknowledging that the image has the capacity to be able to actually say what words can't. So these works are actually works that have emanated from his inner psyche, from the various scribblings and doodlings that he indulged in, they have actually organically evolved and represent those aspects of his inner psyche, his inner turbulences, his inner desires, and all those aspects that could normally not be shared in words alone. Now, you would see a wide variety of brooding figures, not to forget that for almost 10 years in his life, there were tragedies. He painted essentially for the latter part of the 17 years of his life. And all these images personify or represent what he underwent. Landscapes in particular seek or address the vitality of nature, the silences, the energized silences that they offer. Besides being one of the most enlightened human beings of that time, he was extremely well informed about prevalent art trends and prevalent strategies of creative expression of those times. And you can comfortably read and see that what he created was at par with what was going on elsewhere in the world. He is an artist or a creator par excellence who has his own niche area for himself and absolutely unique and distinctive, both in its representation and, more importantly, its content.
He expressed many moods in his paintings: romantic, playful, dramatic, melancholy, mysterious. The paintings on view comprise mostly of heads that are intense, bizarre, enigmatic, like masks. Then there are the landscapes, captured usually in twilight, when the soul wants to reach out to the other. And finally, there are the fantasies, which are amusing, quizzical, and even profound. Rabindranath's use of color is subtle and muted, but his lines have an energy of their own. They surge and swell, they dip, they loop and crisscross each other. They are drawn with geometric precision. They are spontaneous and untamed. Rabindranath once said that the rhythms that he could not capture in his poetry, he caught through his lines. It is not surprising that Rabindranath's art has overcome the constraints of time and context. It appears as fresh today as it did when it was first shown in Paris in 1930 at the Galerie Pigalle. But then, that is the hallmark of a great artist. Indeed, with his diverse creative contributions, Rabindranath was truly a Renaissance man.
যদি দূরে যাই চলে তবু মনে রেখো যদি পুরাতন প্রেম ঢাকা পড়ে যায় নব প্রেম আগে মনে রেখো ও তবু মনে রেখো যদি থাকি কাছাকাছি দেখিতে না পাও ছায়ার মতো আছি না আছি